Why should you choose Nolf, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fairmont City? Why wouldn't you choose them? At Nolf, their sales are speedy and include upfront and straightforward pricing. If it's service and parts you're after, they have skilled technicians who are factory trained while offering knowledgeable parts experts. Maybe you need Nolf's full service body shop offering top quality collision repair to all makes and models of cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Or do you want to cruise the highway in a clean, shiny vehicle thanks to Nolf's detailing service? No matter your needs, Nolf, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fairmont City is there for you. Find out more at nolfchryslerdodge.com. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Nolf Bites. I guess it's good evening, not afternoon, but afternoon, evening. I can't tell the difference.
The sun's still out. That's all good.
The sun's still out for now. There'll become a time where it's like 5 o'clock and the sun won't be out anymore.
It's the best time of year.
No, it's not.
Oh, that's the horrible time.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful time of year. Just terrible time of year. Come on, man.
What's a better time than this?
What's a better time than when
Right.
the sun goes down at like 5 o'clock?
This is the best time of year. Football, then you go into the best holidays of the year. Now, I'll give you like end of January to spring is the worst.
What's your favorite holiday, Ronnie?
Oh,
He's Ronnie Geist, by the way.
I am running, guys.
He's Andy Byers.
My favorite holiday has to be Christmas. I got 4 kids. It's the best time of the year. And I say the Christmas season is the way people should act all year. We'd be a lot better if people acted that way 12 months out of the year.
Andy, what's your favorite holiday?
I'm going to have to agree with Christmas. I kind of treat like from Thanksgiving to Christmas as all one big holiday, it seems like, because you got like deer season. We do Black Friday shopping. It just seems like, I won't say nothing takes place, but it's kind of like you're on a work hiatus for a month almost. And then you roll right into New Year's. So that whole time frame through the year, I kind of like that.
Yeah, I like that. I like Thanksgiving. I like the food at Thanksgiving. I like Christmas. I like the 4th of July, though, too. Middle of the summer, a little more relaxed, the whole 9 yards.
Is our Black Friday still the same as it was back when people used to kick doors in?
No, it's different now since I think with COVID and online shopping and everything, things are just different. We just go more for the experience, and it gives you the chance to kind of get everything you need in one swap.
Ronnie can get a new TV this year so he can watch his Bulldogs.
That I feel like there's a dig somewhere in there, maybe.
Maybe with a bigger screen, you can coach better.
That's true. I
got to coach him up, Ronnie.
Baby steps. We're getting there. We're getting there.
I just want to know what they've changed over the years that now Ronnie's not successful. He was successful a couple years ago. What did he change?
I don't know. I know this. Excuse me. Brockway, give Brockway a lot of credit. They came out. They said they were going to run the ball. They ran the ball.
They pounded.
I pounded the ball. I mean, first play from scrimmage, 65 yards, touchdown. It set the tone for the whole game. Did you guys not know that they were going to run the ball, try to run the ball in that first play?
Well, they're big and physical. I mean, we're young. We've got some guys in spots. When you're young, it makes everything – the game's faster when you're young and inexperienced. And we got some young guys in spots, and, it's just tough when you get a team like Brockway that comes out and they're big, they're physical, and, they got experience. There's some good, solid kids on both sides of the ball. It was tough.
They were fired up too.
Yeah.
They had that youth recognition. They were marching down the road coming in. It took like an hour to get to the game. It just seemed like there was high energy. They were coming off a win. We were coming off a loss.
It's a great venue for a football game.
That is easy. I mean, we talked earlier about Karn City being a good venue. Brockway is probably my favorite place. The new / old Clarion place isn't nice, but I'm sure as a kid, Brockway is a heck of a place to play.
Lights are flashing when they scored touchdowns, and they scored 6 of them the other day.
Yeah, it's a lot of lights flashing.
A lot of light flashing in that game, and
fire truck siren.
Yeah, fire sirens. It's what high school football is all about.
People sitting on the dike. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
lawn chairs across.
That's so they don't have to pay.
Well, that's all right.
And
It's cool you can watch where you don't have to pay too.
And from the press box, you can look down and see the basketball courts are lit up and the tennis courts. It's real nice there. The Very Shitty Field's really, really nice.
It
I
is.
feel like Ronnie's deflecting here. We're talking about a field now.
I mean, look, nobody cares about Red Bank Valley's deficiencies in the coaching staff, specifically the offensive line coach right now. So, this show is obviously more than just about Red Bank. Let's skip right to the one that was the game of the night. You had a little bit of history made. Port Allegheny made the long trip, and that's a long trip from Port Allegheny to Clarion. It's an hour and 45 by car. So what? Add another 15 minutes by bus?
Easily.
So you're looking at least a 2-hour trip on bus, and it's not straight, and it's windy, and it's through the hill country and through the forest and all of that. And they took on the Wildcats, who went to the AA title game, as everybody knows, last year. Port Allegheny went to the single A. Never before, obviously, we had a matchup of two state finalists in District 9 prior to last Friday night, because, well, frankly, it had never been able to have that until Friday night.
Does that mean single A is stronger than double A?
It might be this year. Port Allegheny behind Aiden Bliss. My goodness. We don't talk enough about Aiden Bliss, do we? I mean, honestly, we don't talk enough about this kid.
It's almost like we expect it at this point now. Every time he touches the ball, we expect 10, 12, 20 yards, touchdown. Like,
it was his 18th consecutive 100-yard game. Now, I mean, that in itself is impressive, right? How about it was his 13 of those 18 have gone for 200 yards?
What is his average yard per carry?
That's a great question. Let's see if we can find
career or year? Because
either or.
This year,
you think he's like 9 or 10 or 11
this
or
year, I
12?
bet it's higher than that. He had the one game where he have like 10 carries for 180 yards or something.
Yeah, it's like stupid numbers. Let's see if we can find it. Player stats here.
And he's been doing this like since he was a sophomore, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's averaging. He's a first down and carry. he averages 10.3 yards per carry this year.
That's probably a tough call as the offense coordinator. Like, hey, it's first and 10. What do we think?
Why would you give the ball to Bliss?
10.3 yards a carry this year. This coming off of last year. Now, remember, last year they played half their games were like against great teams, right? Because they go to the state title game. So you play pretty much half your schedule against teams that are really, really, really good. He averaged a mere, slacked last year. 9.9 yards a carry last year.
That's terrible.
3,400 yards, 3,430, 9.9, 56 touchdowns. He did not play as a freshman. I want you to just think about this. They did not play this kid at running back as a freshman. He has 5,554 career yards in 2+ seasons. He's averaging 9.4 yards a carry in his career. In his career, he's averaging 9.4 yards a carry. He has 87 rushing touchdowns.
So it's not unrealistic that he possibly hits 7,000 rushing yards for his career.
Not at all. Not at all.
Like, that's a real possibility.
I mean, he went 2-0. I think it was 202, 203 against Central Clarion. Oh, yeah. By the way, he also threw an 87-yard touchdown pass in that game. They have a package. It's called the Aiden package. That's what they call it. They call it the Aiden package. And out of that, he can run, he can throw, he can catch the ball. It's the Aiden package.
Well, when you're playing a team that's running backs averaging 10 yards a carry, you're probably going to sell out to stop the 10 yards per carry.
You're probably going to sell out to stop the 10 yards a carry.
Give him the 85.
Yeah, and then he throws a little pop pass. The guy goes 87 yards for a touchdown. I mean, our player of the week this week, he could probably be our player of the week every week, for being completely honest, right? Like, he's one of those players. He's a special player. He's one of those generational kids that comes through. And by the way, he's a fantastic wrestler too, in case you didn't hear.
Yeah, University of Virginia, right? I've heard that.
I haven't heard that yet.
No?
But
okay.
I'm sure I will now that we're talking about it, but he was third in the state last year, I think, second or third in the state last year, District 9 champion at 189 pounds. Here's the cool thing about this kid, okay? So obviously, he is right now the best athlete in District 9 this year. I mean, there's no real argument here. Nicest kid you could ever meet. So I'll be the first one to admit that what I know about wrestling, I could put on an index card, if I'm being completely honest. Like, it was not a sport that we had it at my high school growing up, but it wasn't a sport that was important at the high school that I went to. We had it in gym class, maybe when I was in junior high, but like, who the heck's paying attention to stuff then? You know, you're just like, oh, I'm going out and wrestling. You know, you're not paying attention to the intricacies. I went to IUP. We didn't have wrestling at IUP. So I get the Clarion. I'm at the Clarion News, and I don't know anything about it. So Randy Cathcart takes me aside and teaches me a little bit of stuff. And I worked at Clarion University in sports information for 15 years, and obviously wrestling's a big deal there. But I wasn't the wrestling SID. My boss, Rich Herman, was. So I didn't really get into the whole wrestling scene. And so thankfully, Randy Cathcart did teach me a little bit, and I'm okay, and I can give you the basics of what's going on, and I know how it scores and all that stuff. But, you know, everybody's got these moves. Ronnie, you know it. You guys had probably special names for certain moves down at Red Bank Valley, and, you know, that same move might be a different name up at Port Allegheny and a third name at Brookville and a fourth name at Brockway. But yeah, so I don't know a ton. My point to all this is I don't know a ton about wrestling. I'm have to still cover it though, you know, and you do that as part of the job. And so you learn some stuff along the way. Some of the district championships last year, and Aiden wins the district title. And now I want to do an interview with him. But at the same time, one of his teammates, Yuso Young, is wrestling for the heavyweight title, which comes right after, or the 215 or whatever it was. Right. It was like fairly close to when, it was like within a bout or two of when Aiden. So I was like, hey, Aiden, I know you're going to want to watch you, so we can wait. And I'm like, but do you mind if I come over and watch it with you? No, not at all. And then I explained to him what I just said, that I don't really know a whole lot about wrestling. That kid who had just won a district title as a junior, right? Who was watching his teammate wrestle for a district title, took the time as his teammate was wrestling to sit there and explain to me everything that was going on. I was talking to his head coach, Justin Minkowski, on the phone Friday night, and Justin said it, you know, the number one thing about Aiden is the character and what kind of kid he is. And then I told Justin the story I just told everybody. Mm-hmm. And who does that? You know, what 16, 17, 18-year-old kid takes the time to, you know, and Aiden knows me a little bit, but I wouldn't say he knows me a lot. You know, he knows me a little bit. We both have a mutual friend in Isaac Greeley from the rehab center. You know, Aiden's dad, Brandon, owns the Fox's Pizza up there. They do a little bit of advertising with us when we do some Port Allegheny stuff. Very grateful for that. But Aiden stood there and took the time to like walk me through what was going on in Yuso's match. It was mind-blowing. You know, like, forget about him as an athlete, him as a kid, him as a person. He's going to win in life.
Mm-hmm. Kudos to his mom and dad for raising that and to be that humble. You know, part of coaching, you get to meet a lot of kids, a lot of parents. And me and Andy kind of talk all the time. Like, there's a lot of kids that you get lucky enough to be around. You realize, like, when my son grows up, I hope that my son's that type of person. And it sounds like that's exactly what Bliss is that type of person. That.
Does he have siblings?
He does. He has at least one younger brother, I'm pretty sure. I think I've met him a couple times.
Well, selfishly, I hope he doesn't average 10.6 yards.
No, he'll probably average like 15. But just you know, great athlete, great football player. But even a better person. And like I said, I want to talk about another guy who is just an incredible human being, and you don't even realize it. Maybe you're not thinking about it in a District 9 alum, and probably our most famous District 9 alum, and that's Jim Kelly. And I bring Jim up because Saturday had an opportunity to go down to East Brady, and they named the football field, or at least part of it, or exactly, I don't know exactly how they're wording it, but after Terry Henry, who was the head coach. He was an East Brady graduate. I think it was like 67, 68, 69, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then went on to coach at East Brady, had a couple of stints, most of the 70s, and then a couple of years in the early 80s. Very, very, very successful down there. This was before you had district titles. If you had district titles, you'd have probably won a couple of them. And obviously he was Jim Kelly's coach and then became one of Jim Kelly's best friends. But they named the field after him the other day. And Jim came back. Now, think about this. This is a guy who, this is a Saturday morning in East Brady. Sunday night, he's still very involved with the Bills and everything that goes on in Buffalo. The Bills were playing the Ravens in the season opener last night. NBC wanted him for some stuff and some stuff. But Terry Henry made such an impact on his life that he came back to East Brady. And one of the things, I was able to do an interview with him. And one of the things, I don't have this part of the interview on video, but one of the things I asked him was why East Brady was still so important to him. And he credited his dad. And you talked about that, Ronnie, just now, the parents and the influence and all that. And it went back to a story when he's doing the pass, punt, and kick competition at Three River Stadium, the pass, punt, and kick competition where you bring kids in. And so he's probably like 12, 13, 14. I don't exactly know how old he was. But he got L.C. Greenwood's autograph. L.C. Greenwood, the great Steeler defensive lineman from the 70s, the Steel Curtain defense. But it was barely legible. And his dad said something to him about, Jim, if you ever get into a position where, you're lucky enough to somebody wants your autograph, make that autograph legible. Be proud of your name. Be proud of where you come from. And it's a lesson that he's carried with him. He's, obviously he played for the Bills and big Bills guy, but he's also a big Steelers guy still. Big Penguins guy, big Pirates guy. I had some Pirates and Steelers stuff on. He was commenting on how I liked it. He sat there, and I don't know, Andy, you can tell me the different levels. What's the first level of little kids football that they play on Saturday mornings?
For us, it's the Bantam level.
So that's like the 7-8-year-olds or whatever. Right. Yeah. So that's what they're playing. He's up there in a lawn chair at the field in East Brady where he played high school football. He's up there in a lawn chair rooting on those kids like they were Josh Allen and James Cook and those guys from the Bills last night. And then I got to see him on the field interacting the same way with those guys. And it was just so cool to see that. And, there's kids coming up, kids who probably didn't even know who Jim Kelly was. Their parents do, and go get his autograph, and he's autographing stuff for everybody. It was just a really neat thing. And I want to show a couple of clips here. I know we don't usually show clips, so I want to show a couple clips here. I want to show, first of all, the sign ceremony where they brought down, they had to cut the sign cover, they bring down the sign. It was really neat because they had Kelly down on the field, like, doing the MC for this. He's doing the MC at a youth football game for the sign dedication of his old high school coach. And here's the sign coming down.
Oh.
By removing the part.
So yeah, that was a really cool thing, just getting to see the sign and him doing all the stuff with the sign. See if we can get the video for him to work here too, guys. And this was pretty cool video.
Start off by announcing
Terry?
AC Valley Falcons Jr.
Yeah, he was my best friend. I took him, like I said, 32 Super Bowls. I took him all my hunting trips that I went on. He went to Africa with me, went elk hunting with me. He did pretty much everything. And every year he would come up probably 5 or 6 times in my lodge up in Buffalo. We'd go to the games and enjoyed ourselves.
Number 45, Jay Spartley. Number 55, Beckett.
Jim, what was it that made Terry such a great coach?
73.
Well, number one, you have to know what you're talking about. And he knew that in order to be good, you had to work at it. And that's what he told me at a young age. Because even though I thought in my mind I was better than all our kids, I didn't have to work this hard. And before I left for college, he said, just remember one thing. When you go off to college, he said, just remember, every person that you're going to compete against was the best in their school, was the best in their state. You got to outwork the next guy. And I took that, always took that to heart. this is awesome. Boy, it's been a long time since I've seen a major football game. It's been a while. I love it. I mean, I watched that first one. I was loving it. I just, look at that. And of course, I was being a kid too. I mean, a coach in my mind, watching them warm up. I go, okay, he can do better than doing that. He can do that. I start saying stuff.
Just to be back here in East Brady.
Ball's on the ground.
Just to be back here in East Brady and watching a football game on this field. What does that mean to you?
Amazing. And when I was up there sitting, I was just visualizing all of this playing and visualizing when the baseball diamond was down there and how we used to have fun. And one thing that always comes to my mind, when Art Delano, he ran with me, and I knew I had to make weight. And I would run 10 laps around the field, and then we would run down the railroad tracks. We'd come by, and we'd sit in this bullseye for a while. I'd say half hour, 45 minutes, and I just sweat. And all my buddies were out doing their thing. I was here working, running, trying to get in shape and lose weight. I love to eat.
Just such a cool moment for those kids, for that community, all the way around. Just can you imagine, like, the coaches and the players, and he did the coin toss for the second level game, and had his picture taken with the captains and all that. Just what a neat experience for those kids.
His little story about running around the track and then going down on the railroad and running, guys like him they're not just born. Like, he worked so hard to get where he's at, and it's so awesome that he comes back and puts it back in a little bit for his coach and for the community.
I'm wondering which football player you've coached is going to take you elk hunting down the road.
That's a good question. I mean, I'm not going to turn it down if we go duck hunting. Maybe it'll be Drew Byers.
I like how in the middle of the interview he's looking at the field saying, "Get the ball."
Yeah, that was
interested in that game.
There was a second part of the interview that I did off video, and it was the same way. It was, he's like running to the sideline and jump out. It was really cool to see. Again, I like, last night you could see him the same way as Buffalo comes back and wins that game last night over the Ravens. As a Steelers fan, I feel so bad for the Ravens.
Right.
Well,
That's terrible.
Just an awful thing. Speaking of the Steelers, is like the 50-yard field goal the new 30-yard field goal?
Sure. Oh, yeah, definitely.
It seems like it. They should shrink them down.
Unless you're the Browns, of course. See what happened to them?
No. I was at a Pirate game. I didn't get to watch any football.
They missed an extra point, and then with like 2 minutes to go, down 17-16 after missing an extra point, the kid shanked a 39-yard field goal. Makes you really appreciate Chris Boswell as a Steeler fan.
Laces out.
Yeah, laces out. Yep.
Laces out, Dan.
Well, that's what the dude gets. Dude doesn't have. I can't even pronounce his name. He doesn't have any vowels in his last name. Does it? Like it's like SZY. MK or something. I had no idea. It just, you ever notice that, like, at professional sports level, and I mean, look, Ronnie and I were both at the Pirate game yesterday, and different places, didn't even know we were both there, but they're down 4-0 before the game starts. You ever notice some franchises, things go right, and other franchises, they always go wrong?
There's probably a reason for that.
What do you think the reason is, Andy?
Well, I don't know.
I'm
just saying, there's probably a reason.
If you're the Browns, how do you miss every year?
Well, if you're the Pirates, how do you miss every year?
No, they're the same team, different game.
What did the Eagles change? Eagles went all them years.
The Eagles were at least always a respectable franchise that has hit a place here now where they're a little better, kind of like Kansas City. Kansas City was always a respectable franchise, and then they got Pat Mahomes and they became a great franchise. Like, it's hard to do. Like the Patriots, I don't know if the Patriots were ever even looked at. I mean, I know they made the Super Bowl 20 where the Bears just, icky shuffled right over. The icky shuffle was the wrong team. That would have been the
Cincinnati.
Yeah, but what was the whole thing with the Bears? The Bears had something going on too.
What was the name of that song? I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, do you remember the name of it,
No,
Andy?
I don't.
Oh, we're terrible sports fans. I mean, I'd give Ronnie a pass. Ronnie was how old in 1985?
1.
Yeah, Ronnie gets a pass, Andy. How old were you in 85?
4 turning 5.
Yeah, you get a pass too. I don't get a pass. I was almost 10, and I was 10. I don't get a pass here.
I didn't really start getting interested in sports from a TV perspective till maybe 90, 91, 92,
Oh, my.
10, 11, 12.
Oh, you guys are making me feel old. You guys are almost making me feel as old as Aiden Patton made me feel when Larry Weiser was down doing his interview with him, and he was talking about the offensive coordinator for Brockway, Alex Schaefer-Doan, and used the words, and I quote, "Back in the day with Coach Schaefer-Doan," and I'm like,
which was like 2008.
no, like 2013, back in the day.
My kids think it's awesome that I was born in the 19s.
In the 19s. You're born in the 1980s. I mean, come on. You were 6 when we hit the decade change. I was already in. Was I in? I was either in high school or closing in. I guess I wasn't quite in high school because
You look our age. That's all right.
Other than the gut that I got going on.
I've been coaching so long that I went from the youngest coach on the staff that I'm now one of the oldest coaches on the staff.
You older than Blaine? Yeah, you're older than Blaine.
Yeah. Jason
Tom and Bartley.
Tom. Yeah.
Jason Huffman too.
Yeah, Jason
Yeah,
Huffman.
Huffman was what, a 1994 graduate, I think.
Yeah, in that ballpark.
Yeah. Jason and I are about the same age. Jason would know what I'm talking about. They had the refrigerator, Perry, Mike Singletary. A great team. Great Bears team. One of the better 1-year defenses of all time.
But honestly, if you are Cleveland or Pittsburgh, is it just terrible ownership?
Man, I think it supersedes ownership. I mean, the Pirates, this is the 3rd ownership group since they were really any good other than those 3 years there in the mid-2000 teens. And the Browns have had different ownership groups. So, like, it goes deeper than ownership.
Well, as a Pirate fan, I'd be perfectly fine if they played small market ball where they were good for 2 to 3 years, wiped the slate clean, bad for 4 or 5, good for 2 or 3. You know, you see other small market teams doing that.
I think what's worse with the Browns is they play in a salary cap league. At least the Pirates you can look at and go, well, there is small market, big market. With the Browns, there's no excuse. You play, you're under the same rules as everybody else. Except then you give, guys, to Ronnie losing his headphones over there, I mean, can't take him anywhere. But, with the Browns, I mean, you make mistakes like Deshaun Watson. And now you've got Joe Flacco. I mean, I thought the Steelers were a little crazy going with the old man Aaron Rodgers, but
he can sling it still.
Yeah, he can still sling it. I mean,
will he hold up though?
Well, yeah, can the line hold up for him?
What do you think, Ronnie? Can the line do it?
I'm not the one to talk to about proper line fundamentals, I guess.
Proper line play, not your forte.
Working on it.
Well, this is what happens when you put a running back in charge of the offensive line. What were they expecting?
I think it's because I look the part now.
Yeah, you look the part now.
Well, I'm sure Ronnie went a lot of years saying, well, if they would have blocked better on that play, so they figure he knows how to do it.
Yeah, I'd have more yards rushing if they blocked better.
Hey, every play is drawn up to be a touchdown. You just got to block it right.
Got to teach them how to block it right. Well, your head coach said that much. Firm believer, and I agree with him. Firm believer. Kids win games, coaches lose games.
I agree. Jimmy's and Joe's.
They win the games. Guys got to, develop better.
Yeah.
Coach them better. Put those kids in a better, maybe scheme them better.
What do you, we were kind of talking about this earlier, but what do you do different other than is a good coach someone able to adapt to the players that they have and put them in the right positions? Is that what makes the difference between a good and a bad coach? Situationally,
we kind of were talking about like Tiger Laverde, how he took that team that had never been to the playoffs and now they're a state power. And we were talking like, how does that guy get a school? And I'm assuming, that 70 to 100 kids a class or graduating class to, 13 straight state championships? Like, what's he doing that's so efficient, so accurate that that's capable to happen there? And I'm not even just saying, I'm saying anywhere around here that doesn't happen. Like, is there,
what's the X factor?
Right. Like what separates that? I don't have an answer for it, but
I think it starts with a culture. I think it starts with a culture where the kids become to have the expectation that they're going to win, but they also know they have to work to do it. I think what ends up happening sometimes when you have, and I'm not saying this, I'm not pointing to anybody in specific. I'm just talking about different teams over the history of me watching it. Programs will be really, really successful for a while, right? And then the kids coming up just think it happened. They didn't understand the work that was put in by the kids that came before them, boys or girls. It doesn't matter what, or the parents didn't quite understand. Parents can become a real big factor, both negative and positive, in how a program reacts. If you're a parent that's down for whatever reason on a coach or up on a coach, that makes a big difference, because you have a lot of influence on your kids still. And when you're down on a coach, that becomes a problem throughout the program, because not only does your kid see you down on the coach, so do the other kids. Mm-hmm. And then so do the other parents. And it's got the reverse effect too. When you're talking about how great a coach is to your kids and their friends, and then those kids then will go the extra mile for the coach. And so culture is really, really, really important. Obviously, so are players. I mean, I understand what Blaine's saying, and I agree to an extent with what Blaine's saying, that, you've got to, the players win, the coaches lose, but there's only so much you can do as a player. Like, okay, if you have a bunch of Chris Rossetti's running around, you're not going to be any good.
State champs.
Yeah. State champs in terms of like, hey, I'm going to go and root on somebody in the state championship game. But if you got a bunch of me's running around playing football, you're in trouble. If you've got a bunch of Ronnie Geis running around playing football, you're probably not as in big trouble. I mean, I got to be honest. I know who I am. I know what I am. And sometimes in smaller communities, you have pockets where all you've got are a bunch of Chris Rossetti's. And at other times, you have pockets where you have a bunch of Ronnie Geis. Justin Minkowski has had good years and bad years at Port Allegany. Davey Eagleton has had good years and bad years, whether it's CL or at Central Clarion. Blaine Gold is going to have good years and bad years at Red Bank. That doesn't change those people as coaches. And let's keep something in mind. What's the most important thing that a high school coach is doing? Is it winning and losing games, or is it developing young men and women? It's developing young men and women. And so I put this on Facebook. Anybody who's personal friends with me on Facebook, they saw this over the weekend. Any coach can be great to a reporter, can be great when they're winning. When you're the same person when you've lost 42-6 as you are when you win 42-6, that tells me more about you than anything that you're accomplishing or not accomplishing on the football field. It's telling me that you are putting yourself in a position to create good young men and women. And you're teaching those young men and women that life is about sometimes how you handle the disappointments as much, if not more so, than how you handle the successes.
I couldn't agree more. I said to Andy before this, you learn a lot from losing, and when me and Jason coached at CL there, we had a rough stretch of it for a few years, but you learn a lot as a person, and you have to believe as a coach what you're doing is right, because everyone's going to say what you're doing is wrong. But when you lose, you have to be humble about it and understand that we lost, but doesn't change who we are as people. It doesn't change who we are as friends. It doesn't change who we are as teammates. You just continue to keep climbing the hill step by step. And I agree, coaches have to lead that by example.
I think that's kind of been the theme of today's show, really, actually, when you think about it. I mean, we don't go in with any idea of what our theme's going to be, right?
Zero.
But I think our theme today is how sports interacts with how you are as a person, whether that's Aiden Bliss, whether that's Jim Kelly, whether that's Blaine Gold, whether that's Ronnie Geist, Chris Rossetti, Andy Byers. Number one and foremost, I think being a good person is way more important than any of the outcomes of the game itself. We're all going to see winners. We're all going to see losers. And, I've tried to take that philosophy now into my professional sports watching life too. I don't get quite as upset as I used to over Steelers or Penguins or Pirates or whatever. Maybe not still quite so much with Penn State. There's still a fanaticism there for some reason. But with the other ones, I'm trying to become more even keeled about it.
More like them.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, I think losses, specifically professional sports losses, affect the fans a heck of a lot more than it affects the players.
Oh, yeah. I think it's like a business transaction for most of them. They're not saying they're not in it to win it, but
when you're living it on a daily basis, it's different than when you're just rooting about it, I think. So, Well, folks, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Nolf Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram Nolf Bites here. Still got those specials going on here in September. We're almost midway through the month, believe it.
Yeah, we do sell cars too. So if you want a good deal, come on down and see Ronnie. He'll give you the best deal around.
Ronnie, tell them how they can get a hold of you.
You can reach us at 814-365-5251. Also,
give them your personal cell phone.
Check us out on Facebook or www.nolfchrislerdodge.com. Feel free to reach out. Me or Andy will help you, and we'll always be here for you.
And if you come down on a Monday afternoon, I'll just be hanging out. Well, guys, that does it for this week's show. We'll be back next Monday with another edition of Nolf Bites, the show that bites.
Why should you choose Nolf Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram in Fairmont City? Why wouldn't you choose them? At Nolf, their sales are speedy and include upfront and straightforward pricing. If it's service and parts you're after, they have skilled technicians who are factory trained while offering knowledgeable parts experts. Maybe you need Nolf's full service body shop offering top quality collision repair to all makes and models of cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Or do you want to cruise the highway in a clean, shiny vehicle thanks to Nolf's detailing service? No matter your needs, Nolf Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram in Fairmont City is there for you. Find out more at nolfchrislerdodge.com.